Hi guys, this is my review for Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov. Okay, so the blurb for this book is Humbert is a middle-aged, fastidious college professor. He also likes little girls, and none more so than Lolita, whom he'll do anything to possess. Is he in love or insane? A silver-tongued poet or a pervert? A tortured soul or a monster? Or is he all of these? I think this is a pretty good blurb for this book, and I would like to say now, before I get into any more detail about the storyline, that anyone who is under 15 at least should probably not read this book and stop watching this review. I'm not going to give any details away, but just the general story itself is definitely not the kind of thing that anyone that young should be listening about or knowing about. Okay, so this book is another one that took me a pretty long time to get through, and I'm going to go into the main reasons of that with my review, and you'll maybe understand. So basically my overall thoughts on the book was that I felt huge pity for the main character, and I thought the ending was really sweet. I'm not going to give it away, but I thought it was really sweet, and I would like to think that anyone who read this book and went through the whole book thinking, you know, Humbert is such a weirdo or creep, or just didn't empathize with him at all, I would like to think the ending maybe would change their opinion of him, because I thought it was a really sweet way to end the book, and he is a very genuine character. You can tell that he genuinely means everything he says, and everything he did because of love. He did it all out of love for her. That also kind of made me see him in a better light. The book is from the point of view of Humbert, who's looking back over his life, basically writing his biography. I don't know whether it's the character that Nabokov was writing as, or whether it's just Nabokov's writing style. I've never read any of his other books, but I find it to be slightly rambling. I find it kind of hard to follow because there was a lot of extra information, extra detail that I didn't really see how it was relevant to the progression of the storyline. I didn't think the extra information or extra detail that went into the descriptions aided the book at all, and I find it kind of got in the way of the storyline and my ability to keep up with and keep interest in the book. I think that's the main reason why the book took me so long to read, because the extra detail and the rambling style that it was written in just didn't work with me this time. That being said, I thought that the storyline was really good. The idea behind the story and the development of the story progressed pretty well considering the detail. I also find that there were a lot of plot twists, which did manage to keep my attention long enough to actually finish the book. It would kind of go from a really interesting plot twist to lots of rambling to another interesting plot twist, and it was those interesting plot twists happening so regularly that pretty much kept me going through the book. The story is also pretty dark and pretty controversial, especially for the time that it was written at. That being said, it is considered a classic, thankfully, and I can see why. Humbert has a fascination with little girls. I can't really see children through his eyes, but in this book you get pretty close, because he describes Lolita and the other children. Lolita just happens to come into his life through various twists and turns. I'm not going to give the storyline away in case anyone does want to read it. Basically, Humbert goes through a lot of problems because of this fascination that he has with young girls. Not in the way you would first imagine. The problems that he has aren't really the kind of problems you would think that someone in this situation would have. But that's all the information going about that particular part. And then he moves, and she comes into his life, and she has a huge impact on his life. And one of the redeeming features of this book is that Humbert, even though he is creepy and he is weird, and a lot of people reading this book will probably only see him as a pervert, when I was reading the book, I was able to completely empathize with him, because you were looking at the whole story through his eyes, with all of the information he had at the time that he had that information. And the way he described Lolita, you could tell that he wasn't really just being creepy or just being pervy. He did genuinely love her and care about her. And after she affected his life, no, he didn't look at any other girl the same way that he saw Lolita. So I kind of thought he was very misunderstood, but at the same time also really sweet, because I do have a tendency of empathizing completely with fictional weirdos. All the characters that are in the book usually play a key role, and they're all really well described, well developed. I find them pretty easy to picture as well, you know, because that was one of the benefits of the style of writing. It did go into a lot of detail that maybe wasn't that necessary, but it also did help you picture pretty much everything. Overall, I would give the book probably a 7 out of 10. Pretty much everything was good about the book, apart from the style of writing, and that, to me, is a pretty huge part of a book, so that's where it was lacking through my eyes. Maybe I'll try rereading it, and that might help me to understand it better, but that's just my opinion. If you have read the book, or if you're planning to, let me know down below. Okay, bye guys.